They say revenge is a dish best served cold, but mine was served at 180 degrees of pure, white-hot rage in front of 50 corporate executives with their phones out. My name is Daniel Rivera, and I'm 34 years old. I'm a union electrician, licensed, skilled, and proud of what I do. 4 years of apprenticeship, countless hours of training, and a reputation among my crew that I've earned through sweat and competence. My hands are calloused, my back aches most nights, and my work clothes carry the honest stains of a man who builds the infrastructure that keeps this world running. I never thought that would be something to apologize for. But sitting in my living room tonight, watching my wife Clarissa scroll through her phone without so much as acknowledging my existence, I'm starting to understand that somewhere along the way, she decided it was. I just finished a 12-hour shift rewiring an office building downtown. My muscles ache, my jeans are stained with drywall dust, and there's electrical tape residue under my fingernails that I'll scrub off in the shower later. But there's satisfaction in the exhaustion, the kind that comes from honest work completed well. The building's electrical systems will function safely for decades because of what my crew and I accomplished today. Clarissa sits on our cream-colored sofa in a perfectly pressed business suit, her manicured fingers dancing across her phone screen. She's 32, a senior account manager at Prescott & Meyer, one of the city's most prestigious consulting firms. Her blonde hair is pulled back in the kind of sleek bun that screams executive, and her makeup is still flawless despite the fact that she got home 2 hours ago. She doesn't look up when I walk in, doesn't ask about my day, doesn't acknowledge that I exist. "Hey," I say, setting my tool bag by the door and peeling off my work gloves. She responds without looking up from her screen. I try again. "Rough day at the site. We had to completely redo the 3rd floor because the architect changed the layout last minute. Took us an extra 4 hours, but we got it sorted." Clarissa finally glances up, and the look in her eyes makes my stomach clench. It's not indifference, it's contempt. "Must be nice to just clock in and clock out without any real responsibility," she says coldly. The words hit like a slap. I stand there for a moment, trying to process what she just said. Real responsibility? I'm responsible for electrical systems that could kill people if I make a mistake. I'm responsible for making sure families have power, businesses can operate, hospitals can save lives, but I don't say any of that. Instead, I just nod and head toward the kitchen. "I'll start dinner," I reply quietly. As I move around our kitchen that my income helped secure, in the suburban home that my steady paycheck made possible, I think about how different things used to be. 2 years ago, when we first moved into this house, Clarissa seemed to respect what I did. She'd tell her friends about how skilled tradespeople keep society functioning, how the world would collapse without electricians and plumbers and contractors, but 2 promotions in 2 years changed her. She started dressing differently, talking about career trajectories and networking opportunities. She began attending after-work events she never invites me to, coming home with stories about clients and colleagues whose names I don't recognize. She started using phrases like value proposition and market penetration in casual conversation, as if the corporate jargon validated her existence. And somewhere in that transformation, she stopped seeing me as her equal. It didn't happen overnight. It was gradual, insidious. First, it was subtle comments about my salary compared to her colleagues' 6-figure incomes. Then suggestions that I was just doing manual labor while she was building strategic relationships, little remarks about how anyone can learn to wire a building, but not everyone can navigate complex client dynamics. Each comment chipped away at something fundamental between us. I tried pushing back, defending my profession, explaining the skill required, the training, the responsibility of keeping buildings safe and functional. But Clarissa would just roll her eyes and suggest maybe I should go back to school and get a real corporate job to be more like her. Tonight feels different, though. There's something final about the way she looked at me, the casual cruelty in her dismissal. As I season the chicken and chop vegetables, I realize with crystalline clarity that my wife doesn't see me as beneath her. She sees me as a failure. We eat dinner in silence. Clarissa picks at her food while responding to emails on her phone. I watch her and wonder when exactly she became this person. When did the woman who used to curl up against me on this same sofa and talk about our future become someone who can't bear to acknowledge my presence? After dinner, she disappears into our home office to finish some client presentations. I clean the kitchen, do the laundry, and handle the household maintenance that somehow became exclusively my responsibility when her career started consuming her life. She emerges around 10 p.m., announces she's exhausted from a high-stress day, and goes to bed without another word. I lie awake next to her that night, staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathe. She sleeps peacefully, completely unaware of the damage she's inflicted. Or maybe she is aware, and she just doesn't care anymore. I didn't know it then, but that conversation was the beginning of the end. Because 2 weeks later, Clarissa would invite me somewhere she'd spent 6 years making sure I'd never go, and it would destroy everything. 2 weeks after the manual labor conversation, something changes. I'm eating leftover pizza at our kitchen table, still in my work clothes, when Clarissa walks in with an expression I haven't seen in months. She's almost nervous. "Daniel," she says, setting her purse down with unusual care. "I need to ask you something." I look up from my dinner, immediately suspicious. Clarissa doesn't ask. She informs, demands, or dismisses. Asking suggests she needs something from me, and we both know she stopped needing anything from me a long time ago. "What's up?" I respond. She sits across from me, smoothing her skirt with hands that seem slightly unsteady. "There's a company party Friday night. Annual celebration, open bar, fancy rooftop venue downtown," she explains, pausing to take a breath. "I want you to come with me." I actually laugh. I can't help it. The absurdity of the request hits me like a physical force. "You want me to come to a work event?" I ask incredulously. "Yes," she replies firmly. "Your work event?" I clarify. "Yes, Daniel." "My work event," she confirms with growing irritation. I set down my pizza and lean back in my chair, studying her face. In 6 years of marriage, Clarissa has never once invited me to a company function. Not once. Every time I suggested meeting her colleagues or attending corporate gatherings, she shut me down with an arsenal of excuses. I wouldn't fit in with the corporate culture. I'd feel uncomfortable around her professional peers. I might say something embarrassing. She made it clear that her work world was sacred territory, and I was permanently banned from entry. "Why now?" I asked directly. "After 6 years of telling me I don't belong in your professional world?" Clarissa's jaw tightens. "I never said that," she denies. "You said it last month when Josh from accounting invited us to his wedding." "You said I'd stand out like a sore thumb among the other couples," I counter. "That was different," she starts. "You said it when they had the holiday party at that country club. You went alone and told me I'd feel out of place with the partners and their wives." I continue. "Daniel," she tries to interrupt. "You said it when your boss got promoted and they threw him a celebration dinner. You said—" I press on. "I said it once," she snaps, her composure cracking. "One time, and you're acting like I've been excluding you for years." The lie hangs in the air between us. We both know she's said it at least a dozen times, in a dozen different ways, each excuse carefully crafted to keep me away from the life she's built without me. I lean forward, genuinely curious now. "So what changed? What happened to make you suddenly want your blue-collar husband mixing with your white-collar colleagues?" Something flickers across her face. Panic? Calculation? It's gone too quickly for me to identify. "I want you there, okay?" "Isn't that enough?" "Take it or leave it," she says defensively. "Every instinct I've developed in 34 years of life is screaming that something is wrong. This isn't generosity or inclusion. This is strategy. But I'm also wounded, curious, and stupid enough to want to see what her world actually looks like. Maybe I need to understand what made her so dismissive of mine." "Fine," I say finally. "I'll go." Relief floods her features, but it's not the relief of a wife happy to share her professional life with her husband. It's the relief of someone who just cleared a crucial hurdle in a larger plan. That relief immediately transforms into control mode. "Wear your nice suit," she instructs, already back to her old self. "The navy one. And don't drink too much. You know how you get when you're nervous. Be charming, but not too talkative. Let me do most of the talking when we're in groups." I nod along, but I'm not really listening. I'm watching her face, cataloging the micro-expressions that flash across her features. She's planning something. This invitation isn't spontaneous, it's calculated. Then she delivers the line that crystallizes everything. And Daniel? Don't tell people you're an electrician. Say you're in facility management or something corporate sounding. The fury that rises in my chest is so pure, so complete, that for a moment I can't speak. She wants me there, but only if I pretend to be someone else. Only if I hide the work that I'm proud of, the profession that built the life she enjoys, the skills that keep her office building powered and safe. Facility management? I repeat slowly. It's not a lie. You manage electrical facilities. It just sounds more professional, she explains. Professional? Like what I actually do is somehow unprofessional. Like the licensing, the training, the expertise, the union membership, the decades of experience. Like none of that matters because I work with my hands instead of pushing papers. I don't argue. I don't defend my profession again. Instead, I make a decision that will prove more dangerous than Clarissa realizes. I'm going to that party, and I'm telling everyone exactly what I do for a living. She can be ashamed of me if she wants, but I won't be ashamed of myself. Sure, I say calmly. Facility management. Got it. The days leading up to the party are strange. Clarissa is on edge, constantly checking her appearance, rehearsing conversations in the mirror, obsessing over details that seem wildly disproportionate to a simple work celebration. She gets her hair done professionally, buys a new dress that costs more than I make in a week, and acts like Friday night is the most important event of her life. The build-up feels wrong. This isn't excitement. It's preparation for something bigger than she's admitting. I start paying attention to things I previously ignored. Clarissa taking phone calls in other rooms, closing her laptop when I walk by, coming home later than usual with vague explanations about client dinners and strategy sessions. Working weekends she's never worked before. I don't have proof of anything yet. But patterns emerge when you know what to look for. And after 6 years of marriage, I'm finally learning to look. Friday evening arrives. I stand in front of our bedroom mirror, straightening my tie, looking at my reflection in the navy suit Clarissa selected. The man staring back at me looks respectable, professional, like someone who belongs at a corporate rooftop party. But I know better now. I'm walking into enemy territory, invited by someone who sees me as a liability she needs to manage. I had no idea I was walking into a trap. But even if I had known, I would have gone anyway. Because sometimes you need to see the betrayal with your own eyes before you can truly let go. The rooftop venue is exactly what I expected, the kind of place that charges $20 for a cocktail and $50 for an appetizer, where the waitstaff speaks in hushed, reverent tones and everyone looks like they stepped out of a business magazine. Floor-to-ceiling windows offer a panoramic view of the city lights, and the decor screams expensive in that understated way that only truly wealthy people understand. I arrive in my navy suit feeling immediately out of place, not because I look wrong, but because I can sense the difference in the air. These people breathe money, status, connections. They move through the world assuming doors will open for them, expecting service, entitled to the best tables and preferential treatment. Clarissa meets me at the entrance looking absolutely stunning in a black cocktail dress that hugs her curves perfectly. Her hair is styled in loose waves, her makeup is flawless, and she's wearing jewelry I've never seen before. Expensive pieces that catch the light and whisper, "Success." She kisses my cheek quickly. A performance for anyone watching, and immediately leans in to whisper the reminder. "Remember, facility management," she murmurs against my ear. I ignore her completely. "You look beautiful," I tell her, and mean it. Whatever else has gone wrong between us, Clarissa is still the most gorgeous woman I've ever seen. "Thank you," she replies, but she's already scanning the room, identifying targets, planning her networking strategy. "Come on, let me introduce you to some people." The introductions unfold exactly as I predicted. Clarissa leads me from group to group, each cluster of colleagues more polished and pretentious than the last. When asked about my work, I smile pleasantly and tell the truth. "I'm a union electrician," I state clearly. The reactions are polite but unmistakable. A momentary pause, a subtle shift in body language, a quick glance at Clarissa that says, "Really? This is what you married?" Then they turn back to her with renewed interest, steering conversations toward quarterly projections, client acquisitions, and market expansion strategies that exclude me by design. I don't care. I get a beer from the bar, find a strategic corner where I can observe, and settle in to watch. This is what Clarissa wanted, to parade me around just enough to prove she has a husband, while simultaneously demonstrating that I don't belong in her world. But as the evening progresses, I start to see something else. Something that makes my blood run cold. Clarissa barely acknowledges my presence after the initial introductions. She drifts between clusters of colleagues like a butterfly, but there's nothing random about her movement. She's working the room, touching arms and shoulders, laughing too loudly at jokes that aren't funny, performing in a way I've never seen before. She's a different person here. Confident, aggressive, flirtatious. The quiet contempt she shows me at home has been replaced by something predatory and calculating. She's hunting. I watch her position herself strategically among the power players, the partners, the senior vice presidents, the decision-makers who control promotions and salary increases. But two men in particular seem to command her special attention. The first is tall and blonde, late 30s, with the kind of lean build that suggests expensive gym memberships and personal trainers. He moves with the casual arrogance of someone born into privilege, and when he speaks, people listen. The second is darker, slightly older, early 40s, with a wedding ring that catches the light when he gestures. Both men seem to know Clarissa well, too well. When the dancing starts, I watch from my corner as Clarissa joins the makeshift dance floor in the center of the room. Within seconds, she's flanked by both men, moving between them with an intimacy that makes my jaw clench. Their hands find her waist, her shoulders, the small of her back. Their bodies press against hers in ways that have nothing to do with professional relationships. I tell myself this is just corporate culture. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe this is how successful people network at parties. But deep down, I know better. Tough night? A woman in a red dress appears beside me like a materialization. She's clearly drunk, swaying slightly, her lipstick smudged and her eyes unfocused. The alcohol has stripped away whatever filter she normally maintains in professional settings. "I'm sorry," I respond. "I'm Jessica from marketing," she says, extending a hand that's holding a half-empty wine glass. "You're Clarissa's husband, right?" "The electrician, Daniel." "And yes, I confirm." Jessica nods sagely as if this confirms something she suspected. "Must be tough," she repeats, gesturing toward the dance floor. "What do you mean?" I ask. She looks at me with the kind of pity usually reserved for terminal cancer patients. "Watching Clarissa with Preston and Henry like that," she explains matter-of-factly. My heart stops. "Preston and Henry?" I manage to ask. "Preston's her boss," Jessica continues without thinking. "Henry is VP of Client Relations. Everyone knows she's been sleeping with both of them for months. They pass her around at these events like some kind of party favor. The world tilts. Everything, the music, the laughter, the clinking of glasses becomes background noise to the roar in my ears. I look back at the dance floor, but Clarissa, Preston, and Henry are gone. All three have disappeared while I was talking to Jessica. Jessica starts, suddenly realizing she's said too much. "I probably shouldn't have. I'm pretty drunk. Sorry," she mumbles, drifting away with a sympathetic smile, leaving me alone with the knowledge that's just destroyed my marriage. My hands shake as I move through the crowd, scanning faces, looking for my wife. No sign of them. I check the bar, the balcony, the bathroom areas. They've vanished like they planned it. Then I hear it, faint but unmistakable, coming from down a hallway marked "Private, Staff Only," moaning. Clarissa's voice, breathless and urgent, punctuated by deeper masculine sounds. My vision narrows to a tunnel. My hands shake as I pull out my phone, open the camera app, and hit record. I don't think about consequences or legality or what happens next. I just move down that hallway toward the sound of my marriage disintegrating. The office door is closed but not locked. I don't knock. I don't hesitate. I don't give them a chance to stop or hide or make excuses. I throw the door open with enough force to slam it against the wall. The scene is worse than anything I could have imagined. Clarissa is naked on a mahogany desk, positioned between both men, frozen in shock as camera light floods the room. For a split second that feels like eternity, nobody moves. The tableau is obscene, undeniable, permanently captured on video. Then Clarissa screams. The men fumble for clothes that are scattered across the floor. And my rage explodes like a dam bursting. What happened next wasn't planned. It wasn't strategic. It was pure primal fury, and it was caught on camera for the whole world to see. I don't think. I don't calculate. I don't weigh consequences. I just act. Preston is closest, still half-naked and pathetically trying to cover himself with a folder. He's Clarissa's boss, the one who should have known better, the one with the most power in this sick dynamic. My fist connects with his nose before he can raise his hands to defend himself. The crack is audible, satisfying, final. Blood explodes across his face and down his expensive white shirt. He goes down hard, blubbering like a child, his hands cupping his destroyed nose. Henry tries to run. He's naked and desperate, scrambling toward the door with his clothes clutched against his chest. I grab him by the shoulder and spin him around, driving my other fist into his gut with all the force of 6 years of suppressed rage. He doubles over, gasping for air, retching onto the Persian rug that probably costs more than my truck. Daniel, please wait! Clarissa screams, trying to cover herself with papers from the desk. Trying to stop me? I ignore her completely. She doesn't exist to me anymore. She's just another problem to handle, another piece of trash to clean up. I grab Preston by the ankle and start dragging him toward the door. Stop, please, he whimpers, actually crying now, begging me to stop. Blood from his nose leaves a smear across the expensive carpet as I pull him out of the office and into the hallway. Henry limps behind us, one hand pressed to his stomach, the other trying to hold his pants up. The main party area falls silent as I drag both men into view. The music cuts off mid-song. Conversations stop abruptly. Everyone turns to stare at the spectacle. 2 naked, bloodied executives being pulled across the floor by a blue-collar worker in a rumpled suit. I release Preston's ankle and stand up, addressing the crowd with perfect clarity despite the adrenaline coursing through my system. Everyone want to know what Preston and Henry were doing in that office? I announce, holding up my phone, still recording. They were having intimacy with my wife. Both of them. At the same time. At a company party, the silence is absolute. Someone drops a glass. It shatters against the marble floor with a sound like a gunshot. Then gasps, murmurs, the distinctive sound of dozens of people simultaneously reaching for their phones. Clarissa stumbles out of the hallway, half-dressed, her cocktail dress twisted and stained, her perfect makeup streaking down her cheeks. She looks destroyed, desperate, pathetic. She reaches for me with shaking hands. Please, Daniel, wait, let me explain. She sobs desperately. Don't touch me. I respond with ice-cold fury. I pull off my wedding ring and throw it at her feet. It bounces once and rolls under a cocktail table. We're done. I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. You're a cheating whore, and everyone here just watched you prove it. Clarissa collapses to her knees, sobbing, trying to gather the fragments of her dignity. Several women in the crowd turn away in disgust. The men stare with the kind of fascination usually reserved for car accidents. I address the crowd one final time, my voice carrying to every corner of the silent room. I got the whole thing on video, every second, for the lawyers. Then I walk out, leaving carnage behind, my sobbing wife, 2 bleeding executives, and a room full of people already pulling out their phones to capture the aftermath for social media. The elevator ride down feels like a descent through layers of my former life. Each floor represents another piece of the marriage I'm leaving behind. The parking garage is mercifully empty. I sit in my truck for several minutes, hands gripping the steering wheel, trying to process what just happened. My phone buzzes. Text from Clarissa. Please come back. We need to talk. Another buzz. I can explain everything. Another. Please don't do this. I block her number. The drive home is a blur of city lights and rage. By the time I pull into our driveway, I've made a decision. Clarissa is not stepping foot in this house again. This is my sanctuary now, and she's forfeited any claim to it. I call an emergency locksmith. Within 2 hours, every lock is changed. Clarissa's key is worthless. While I wait for the locksmith to finish, I call Raymond Torres, a divorce attorney my union rep recommended after his own messy split. Raymond, this is Daniel Rivera. I need to meet tomorrow morning at 9, I tell him when he answers. What's the situation? He asks professionally. Caught my wife cheating. Got it on video. Both guys, same time at her office party, I explain bluntly. Send me the video immediately, he responds without hesitation. His reply comes 20 minutes later. This is airtight. She gets nothing. See you at 9 a.m. I spend the next hour methodically packing everything Clarissa owns. Clothes, shoes, makeup, jewelry, her laptop, personal items, family photos, everything goes into black trash bags. I'm not angry anymore. I'm efficient. Each item represents a piece of our shared history that I'm permanently discarding. When I'm finished, I drag all the bags to the front lawn and pile them by the curb next to the actual garbage cans. The symbolism is deliberate and unmistakable. My phone has been buzzing constantly, Clarissa calling from different numbers, trying to reach me. I ignore every call. Around midnight, she starts showing up in person, pounding on the door, begging me to let her in. I turn off all the lights and wait for her to leave. By Saturday morning, the video has taken on a life of its own. Someone at the party, probably Jessica from marketing, posted their cell phone footage on social media. The clip shows Clarissa stumbling out of the office half-dressed, me throwing my wedding ring, the bloodied executives trying to cover themselves. It's gone viral. The view count climbs throughout the morning. Thousands become tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands. Comments flood in. Imagine cheating at a company party. Those executives got what they deserved. The husband is a legend. This is why you don't mess with blue-collar guys. Local news outlets pick up the story by Sunday. Corporate scandal, consulting firm executives caught in affair. Prescott and Meyer's PR team scrambles to control the damage. But there's no containing this kind of public humiliation. By Monday morning, the company issues a terse statement. Effective immediately, Clarissa Rivera, Preston Williams, and Henry Carter have been terminated for conduct violations and breach of company ethics policies. All three fired, careers destroyed, reputations obliterated, professional references permanently poisoned. The viral video has made me a folk hero. Complete strangers recognize me at the hardware store and offer to buy me coffee. My union brothers treat me like a legend. The local news wants interviews, but I decline. This isn't about fame, it's about justice. I thought it was over. I thought the public humiliation, the firings, the viral video, I thought that was enough. But Clarissa had one more move left, and I had one final truth she needed to hear. Tuesday afternoon, 3 days after the party, Clarissa appears at my front door. She looks like she hasn't slept in a week. No makeup, unwashed hair, wearing yesterday's clothes. Her eyes are swollen from crying, and she moves with the defeated posture of someone whose entire world has collapsed. She tries her old key first. When it doesn't work, she stands there for a moment, staring at the useless piece of metal in her hand, like it represents everything she's lost. Then she pounds on the door with increasing desperation. I open it, but don't step aside. My body blocks the doorway completely. What? I ask flatly. We need to talk, she whispers, her voice barely audible, broken and pleading. We don't need to do anything. My lawyer will contact your lawyer, I reply coldly. I don't have a lawyer, she responds desperately, her composure cracking. I don't have anything. The company fired me. They blacklisted me. No other firm will hire me. I can't afford rent. I can't afford... Not my problem. I cut her off. The coldness in my voice makes her flinch. This is the woman who spent months treating me like a failure, looking at me with contempt, dismissing my profession and my worth. Now she's standing on my doorstep like a beggar, asking for mercy from the man she betrayed. She tries to push past me into the house, our house, the life we built together. I don't budge. Please, she pleads. Just let me explain. Explain what? That you've been sleeping with 2 guys behind my back for months? That you brought me to that party to humiliate me while you disappeared with your lovers? What exactly needs explaining? I demand. Clarissa crumbles, sinking onto the front steps, sobbing with the kind of raw desperation that might have moved me a week ago. But that was before I saw her naked on a desk between 2 executives. Before I learned that everyone at her company knew what she was doing. Before I realized our entire marriage was a lie. She tries every angle she can think of. It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. She got caught up in corporate politics and power dynamics. Preston promised me a promotion if I slept with him, then Henry got involved, and it spiraled out of control, she explains frantically. I never meant for it to happen. I'm in therapy now. I understand what I lost. I love you. I'll do anything to fix this. I listen without expression, letting her exhaust herself with excuses and justifications and desperate promises. When she finally stops talking, I deliver the truth she needs to hear. So you're a cheating woman, and you were prostituting yourself for a promotion. That's even worse, I state matter-of-factly. Don't call me that, she protests. You had intimacy with 2 guys at once at your office party while your husband was in the next room. What else would you call it? I ask bluntly. She sobs harder, trying to explain corporate culture and networking and the pressure to advance her career. I forgot what really mattered. I lost sight of our relationship. I made terrible choices, but they don't define who I really am, she pleads desperately. Me, I interrupt. I'm what really mattered. Our marriage, our vows, our life together. And you threw it all away because I'm just a blue-collar worker who does manual labor without real responsibility. She denies it weakly, but we both know every word is true. I point at the trash bags lined up on the curb like refuse waiting for collection. Your stuff is right there. Take it and leave, I command. Where am I supposed to go? She asks desperately. Call Preston or Henry. Oh wait, they got fired too. And Henry is married, so his wife probably isn't feeling too charitable right now. Guess you'll figure it out, I reply without sympathy. Clarissa makes one final attempt to reach me emotionally, sobbing about the years we spent together, the love we shared, the future we planned. But I'm done. I've heard enough lies to last a lifetime. If you're not off my property in 5 minutes, I'm calling the police for trespassing, I warn her. She staggers to the curb and starts loading the trash bags into her car, one at a time, crying the entire time. Neighbors watch from windows and doorways, some with obvious satisfaction, others with the kind of uncomfortable fascination that public humiliation always generates. When she's finished loading her belongings, she turns back one final time. I loved you, Daniel, she says through her tears. I deliver the killing blow. No, you loved what I provided. You loved having a stable home and reliable income while you climbed your corporate ladder. You loved the security of a marriage while you messed around with executives. But you never respected me. And without respect, love doesn't mean shit. I close the door and lock it. Through the window, I watch her drive away, taking nothing of value and leaving behind a marriage that should have lasted forever. The divorce proceedings move forward with ruthless efficiency. My video evidence makes Clarissa's adultery undeniable. The prenuptial agreement she insisted on 6 years ago, designed to protect her career assets, now protects me instead. I keep the house, my truck, my retirement accounts, everything we built together. Clarissa gets her personal belongings and nothing else. 3 months later, the divorce is final. The papers are signed, the assets are divided, and Clarissa Rivera is officially erased from my life. I sit in my kitchen that evening, in the house that's finally mine alone, drinking a beer and reading the final decree. It's quiet, peaceful. For the first time in years, I feel like I can breathe. 3 months later, the divorce was final. The video had made me a folk hero. Clarissa was radioactive. But the real revenge, that was just beginning. 3 months post-divorce, my life has stabilized beautifully. The viral video made me a minor folk hero. My union brothers treat me like a legend. Strangers recognize me at hardware stores and buy me coffee. The house is mine, paid off and peaceful. I got promoted to master electrician, leading my own crew now, earning more than I did during my marriage. Clarissa's life has imploded completely. No consulting firm will hire her after the scandal. Her LinkedIn profile is scrubbed of all Prescott and Meyer mentions, but the internet never forgets. She's working retail at a department store, living in a studio apartment. Her corporate ambitions reduced to ashes. The woman who looked down on blue-collar work is now folding clothes for minimum wage. Preston and Henry face their own reckonings. Preston's wife divorced him and took everything. The house, the cars, custody of their kids. Henry got demoted at his next job when someone recognized him from the viral video. Both men's careers are permanently stained. 6 months later, I'm thriving. I coach youth baseball on weekends, Reconnect with hobbies I abandoned during my marriage. Spend time with friends Clarissa considered beneath us. At a community cookout, I meet Lisa, a public school teacher who thinks my electrician work is incredibly respectable and important. She doesn't care about tax brackets or corner offices. She cares that I show up, do good work, treat people with kindness. We exchange numbers, take things slow, build something real. 1 year later, Clarissa tries one final time, a long email apologizing, explaining therapy, asking for closure. I read it once and delete it without responding. I'm at a baseball game with Lisa when Clarissa's follow-up text arrives. Please, I just want to talk. Lisa notices my expression. I block Clarissa's new number and tell Lisa, just clearing out some old trash. Lisa smiles. On the field, a kid hits a home run. Everyone cheers. I realize I haven't thought about Clarissa in weeks. She's just gone. A closed chapter, a mistake learned from, a life I'm happy to have left behind. I learned that respect is non-negotiable. That status means nothing without integrity. That blue-collar work isn't lesser. It's essential and honorable. Most importantly, I learned the best revenge isn't violence or public humiliation, though those felt good in the moment. The best revenge is building a life so fulfilling, so genuinely happy, that your ex becomes completely irrelevant. Clarissa destroyed everything for 2 executives who didn't respect her enough to use a hotel. I lost a wife who never valued me and gained freedom to find someone who does.